Every step of the way, we have taken decisions based on the best recommendations of experts, scientists, of doctors, and the recommendation was that the border measures are no longer necessary right now.
What seemed to be punitive in the maximum to the average Canadian returning home could be discounted and dismissed as simply an inconvenience, unless you believe in bodily autonomy and medical privacy. You may disagree if you were one of the many who were fined for not speaking to PHAC, Public Health, upon returning home, and you also didn't fill out the ArriveCan app or disclose your personal medical status. It can always get worse, and you're going to find out how right now. A pregnant mother lost her baby due to a complication after an altercation at the border resulting from not filling out the ArriveCan app. Now, thank you to Matthew Horwood from the Western Standard for corroborating and verifying this story. I had seen this already on Twitter, but I didn't want to put it out until I had at least someone had really checked this out, and Matthew Horwood did. On August 15th, Rachel and her husband Jerry were returning to Canada from the UK. Everything was fine until they got to Toronto Pearson Airport. Rachel and her husband refused to fill out the ArriveCan app, and things escalated until 4 Peel regional police officers, that's right, police officers, advanced upon her, and she fell upon her back while the 4 officers attempted to restrain her and grab her passport. She kept telling them she was pregnant to no avail until a CBSA border officer told the police officers that it just wasn't worth it, and then they backed off, and Rachel and Jerry were able to leave the airport without being arrested, fined, or giving up their medical information. But at what a cost? They get back home to Thornhill, which is a North Toronto suburb, and they notice that Rachel's bleeding. She goes back to the hospital, and she's told there that she's going into preterm labor as a result of the incident. The baby did not make it, and the couple buried their child on September 5th. A spokesperson from the Peel Regional Police told the Western Standard, it's Matthew Horwood, they are aware of the allegation, and they notified their Special Investigations Unit, who has not decided to do an investigation, so the officers are refusing to investigate their own. So will any politician stand up, or are they all too busy grandstanding and self-congratulating over the end of the renewals of the Order in Council that instituted the ArriveCan app and required disclosing your private medical status? September 30th fast approaches, but to me it's not a sweet date, it's not even bittersweet, it's putrid, pungent, and sour because of the human cost. I know that fundamentally our country is susceptible to rule by fiat, as these orders in council have shown us. Canada has kings, although they may be elected, they're temporary ones, but they can rule without any opposition. They just create these rulings, these orders in council, and we've got to obey. And there's always a cost, brethren, a human cost to government tyranny. And here, most decidedly illustrated by one dead baby. All this makes me think, when the mask mandates were running, I told my wife, Soraya, I told her she was pregnant, and she had been facing some loony people in shopping malls and the rest. I said, you know what? I don't want you being hit by a shopping cart. I said, you know what? We're exempt. The kids are exempt. But you know what? If you feel safer, you put on that mask, because this is not the time or place, and I cannot afford to lose this child. Our baby is now about 9-10 months old. And I really feel for Rachel over here and her husband, who stood up at the border saying no to the ArriveCan app. And look at the cost over here. Look at the cost. The politicians want to act like, hey, you know what? They were just making up rulings, following the science. We know that's not the case. Over and over, the science is being challenged. And this just incenses me. It incenses me completely. And the politicians, just self-congratulatory. And here we go. This is the cost, the human cost, brethren. The human cost of these kind of mandates, rules, orders in fiat, I call them. Not orders in council, but orders in fiat. I want to return to those old values that create a country, create a people worth living for, worth fighting for. Honor, accountability, integrity, and loyalty. The way my father taught me, the way my mother taught me, the way that I was raised. Hail, brethren! Hail, freedom! And never, never forget.